This is a place where people come in and have breakfast and lunch regularly. We've talked to people who come here with their church groups, with their families. And we're going to speak to a mom now, Mary Jane, who comes here regularly as well. Hi, Mary Jane. Good morning to you. You've got a good breakfast here in front of you. I think some French toast and some bacon.
Yes.
We've been talking to locals about the issues that matter to them. It seems like the cost of living really is one of them. Is that something that's on your mind?
Yes, absolutely. You go to the grocery store, and when you would have a big shopping cart, you'd have it full, and it'd be pretty reasonable. Now you take the smaller shopping cart, and it's more money than what the big cart was. It's ridiculous. When people with babies, with baby formula, diapers, I don't know how they do it.
What do you want to see in terms of change?
I want to see taxes go down. I want to see the economy better. Housing. It's ridiculous. How do people afford houses? They can't. Adult children have to move back home with their parents because they can't afford the mortgage, because it's ridiculous.
Do you think that's going to affect, how you're looking at this election in November? As we're just under 2 months away.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you feeling optimistic about things at the moment?
I hope so. I know what I want as far as the outcome with the election, and I hope it goes that way, because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
All right.
The cost of gas, food, housing, it's out of control. And I don't see any end in sight unless there is a change.
Well, I wonder who she's voting for. And the good news is that we're seeing swing states taking the lead in purging their voting rolls just in time for early voting. We got the latest in one key swing state that's now poised to vote Republican for the first time in decades. It's going to absolutely make your day. Plus, a brand new election forecast for the Senate has just been released. Let's just say things are going from bad to worse for Cackle's Kamala. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. So let me encourage you to smack that bell and subscribe button. You are not going to want to miss a single episode where we analyze the latest polls and trends as we march towards November. Plus, we get a front row seat on amazing things happening all over the world for conservatives. So again, smack that bell and subscribe button. Now, before we dive into the latest disaster for the Dems, and this is absolute disaster, you're going to love it. Let's talk about something revolutionary that's taking over the wellness space, and that's flavored air. Let me introduce you to Fume. Now, we all got those habits that aren't doing us any favors, but what if I told you there's a better, healthier alternative that's actually enjoyable? Well, that's where Fume comes in. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that's all about helping you replace old bad habits with something fresh and guilt-free. Think of it as a delightful herbal tea for your mouth with flavors like crisp mint and orange vanilla. Now, this is not a vape, just pure, non-toxic flavors that are easy to enjoy anywhere. And one of the best things about Fume is how it fills that void, when you're trying to leave a bad habit behind, but you still want something to reach for. Well, Fume, they got you covered. Fume is backed by real doctors here in the USA, and they've already served, get this, over 300,000 customers. And if you use my code Steve Turley, you'll get a free topper. It's a perfect accessory to your Fume device. So head on over to tryfume.com. That's tryfume.com. Use code Steve Turley or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today. Don't wait. Make the switch today and take another step toward making America great again. We've got some amazing news coming out of the key swing state of Nevada. The state as a whole has purged over 100,000 names from their voter rolls, with Clark County alone purging 90,000. Now, if you don't know, Democrats have historically had a very sizable lead in voter registration throughout Nevada. So, for example, back in 2012, when Obama won the state for the second time in a row, Democrats had a near 10% voter advantage over Republicans. There were 130,000 more registered Democrats in Nevada than Republicans, a near 10% advantage in a state with 1.5 million voters. Gang, take a look at this. That historic lead that Democrats used to have in Nevada voter registration, that near 10% advantage, has now dropped to under 1%. Let that hit you. In a mere 10 years, the Democrat lead, which used to be over 130,000 votes, is now less than 20,000. And if you don't know, Trump, quote, lost Nevada by just 30,000 votes. And that disappearing margin is the result of a combination of election integrity efforts, such as purging these old voter rolls, and a surge in Republican voter registration efforts that have been through the roof. It's not just Nevada. Neighboring Arizona is also seeing a dramatic reduction in the Democrat voter rolls, as well as a surge in Republican registrations. Republicans are absolutely surging in Maricopa County, by far the largest county in Arizona. Actually, all 15 counties in Arizona, every single one, have been trending Republican in terms of voter identification registration. We've seen two flips. Yuma and Navajo counties, they both flipped from blue to red counties. Maricopa County, again, by far the largest county in Arizona, is now +6 Republican, up from +3.9 Republican in 2020. And that's key because, again, when all is said and done, he who wins Maricopa wins Arizona. And the must-win county for this key swing state is now +6 Republican. And Arizona as a whole has doubled their Republican advantage. They moved from a +2.7 Republican advantage to now a +6 Republican advantage for the state as a whole. +6. Now, all of this is happening at the very same time a brand new poll just came out. It's an RMG poll, and it asked voters the classic Reagan question. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Look at this, gang. Nearly 60% of respondents said no. Only 37% said yes. So there's Kamala's voting base right there. There you have it. Her voting base is at 37% who actually believe things are peachy keen right now. Plus another, 6, 7, 8% who know things are falling apart, but frankly, apparently they just don't seem to care. So that's her ceiling, which means that Trump, or more broadly, the Trump-Kennedy populist realignment, has a huge chance here at galvanizing nearly 60% of the nation to vote out the very establishment that profits off of our economic disadvantages. Now, that survey, where nearly 60% of respondents said that they were not better off than they were 4 years ago, appears to explain, at least in part, the massive swing among independent voters to Trump. The latest NPR poll shows independents are breaking to Trump by a huge margin, by 14 points. Rasmussen polling, which is a daily poll tracker that keeps track of the 24/7 trends going on with this race, they're seeing the same thing. In fact, they're arguing that the biggest story, really, of the Biden administration has been the awakening of independents. And that's ultimately what's giving Trump this bump in the polls. Again, don't forget, in the midst of all of the conflicting, confusing opinions that are being thrown out there, never forget the one fixed point, the lighthouse, as it were, the solid fixed point that everyone admits is that Trump is stronger today than he has ever been. Trump is in a better position to win the White House today than he ever was in 2016 or 2020 when he, quote unquote, lost, right, by 40,000 votes. Actually, Rasmussen polling doesn't even think this election is close right now. For example, the night of the debate, their daily tracking had Trump up 5 points nationally. I mean, that's obviously a landslide for a Republican that we haven't seen it since 1988. Now, we saw this during the debate itself. You may have seen in the real-time partisan trackers. This is where the blue line represents Democrat respondents, the red Republican, if I remember, it was yellow line, independent. And they responded in real time to what the candidates were saying. Check this out.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
Goldman Sachs? My gosh, the woman is so out of touch. Goldman Sachs, she's literally admitting she's the candidate of the elite in the midst of a surging populism all over the world. And you saw it again in real time. If you're listening by way of our 20 million podcast downloads, there was near total alignment between independents and Republicans throughout. In fact, we saw that alignment throughout the debate. It was absolutely fascinating. Even on abortion, by far the Democrats' strongest issue, Republicans and independents gave Trump comparable support in his answer.
On fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's the problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
Under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth.
Now, based on that alone, it's not hard to see who won that exchange. Again, with Republicans and independents aligned together with this new Kennedy-Trump alliance, I mean, November is going to be absolutely epic. Now, in addition to all of this, we've got a development going on in the Senate forecast. The Cook Political Report has officially forecasted GOP control of the Senate. They see it as virtually certain that the Republicans will indeed take the Senate. The Republicans right now have 49 seats. We've got an easy pickup in West Virginia. Jim Justice will win Joe Manchin's old seat, probably a margin of 40 or 50 points. John Tester, the Democrat, looks like he's going to easily go down in Montana. That's certainly what the Cook Political Report is seeing. So they're giving the GOP a pickup of 2 seats and a near certain 51-seat majority. But you can be sure that Bernie Moreno in Ohio is going to easily beat Sherrod Brown, who's the incumbent Democrat senator. If Trump wins Ohio by 10 points, as he's poised to do, I mean, it's a no-brainer. And then we look across the senatorial map, and we have to remember we're no longer seeing split tickets, okay? More voters tend to vote down ticket than ever. So whoever they're voting for as president, they'll tend to vote for that party down ticket in the Senate and House races. There's been really only one exception. As I understand it, that's Susan Collins of Maine back in 2020. Maine voted for Biden, but returned Susan Collins, the Republican, to the Senate. That's really an exception to the rule. And if that rule holds in November, then that means we may indeed be seeing Carrie Lake in Arizona, Sam Brown in Nevada, Bob McCormick in Pennsylvania storm the Senate as well. So the Republicans are poised to pick up, well, very possibly anywhere from 5 to 7 seats, at the very least 3. And with the latest voter roll purge and voter registration efforts, they're well on their way to taking November and Washington by storm.